Shadows on the Rails, the Great Train Robbery, the whisper that could buy a kingdom. What if a single, shadowy tip from a man no one ever truly knew could unravel the threads of Britain's ironclad postal empire, stealing enough to fund a dozen underworld dynasties? In the dim underbelly of 1960s London, where fog clung to the Thames like a thief's alibi, a plan was born. Not in the smoke-filled backrooms of Parliament, but in the gritty safe houses of South London's forgotten alleys. It was 1962, and Bruce Reynolds, a silver-tongued burglar with eyes like polished flint, gathered his crew. They weren't just robbers, they were architects of chaos, dreaming of a score that would echo through history. But the real spark, a mysterious informant dubbed the Ulsterman, a ghost in a three-piece suit who slipped train schedules and cargo manifests like forbidden love letters. Who was he? A disgruntled postal clerk? A double agent playing both sides? The question hung like a noose, pulling Reynolds deeper into the web. As the plot thickened, whispers spread. This wasn't a heist. It was war on wheels. The Phantom Signal, August 7, 1963. The air in Buckinghamshire hummed with the low growl of diesel engines, oblivious to the storm brewing. Under a moonless sky, 15 shadows, clad in ski masks, gloves, and the cold steel of determination, crouched by the tracks near Sears Crossing. Roger Corddry, the signal savant with fingers nimble as a pickpocket's, tampered with the green light of progress. Batteries hummed to life, flipping it crimson in the dead of night. Miles away, the Glasgow to London Royal Mail train thundered south, its belly swollen with $26 million in crisp, used banknotes, enough to buy silence from half of Fleet Street. At 3:02 a.m., the beast slowed, brakes screeching like a banshee's wail. Heartbeats synced to the rhythm of the rails. Would the driver stop? Or would this be the moment the Empire struck back? The gang held their breath, the weight of fortune pressing down like the fog rolling in from the Chiltern Hills. Blood on the iron horse. The train halted with a shudder that rattled souls. Jack Mills, the grizzled engineer with 20 years on the line, peered into the void, his second man, David Whitby, at his side. That's when the wolves descended. Ronnie Biggs, the eager recruit with a grin like a switchblade, and the hulking South Coast Raiders, Tommy Wisby, Jim Hussey, Bob Welch, swarmed the cab. A kosh cracked against Mill's skull, the sound muffled but eternal, blood blooming on his uniform like a dark rose. Whitby froze, hands up, as the robbers uncoupled the engine with surgical precision. "Move it or join him," growled Charlie Wilson, the steely treasurer whose calm masked a storm. They dragged the train 500 yards to Brightigo Bridge, the high-value packages carriage yielding 120 bulging mailbags in a frenzy of sweat and whispers. 15 minutes. That's all it took to gut the beast. But as Mills lay groaning, eyes flickering with betrayal, a chill settled. This wasn't clean. It was crimson. And in the distance, sirens? No, just the wind. Or was it the hounds of justice already baying, the farmhouse of fates? Dawn crept over Leatherslade Farm like a reluctant witness, the stolen fortune dumped in hayloft shadows by 4:30 a.m. Buster Edwards, the dapper organizer with a flair for the dramatic, cracked open a bottle of champagne amid the chaos. Shares were divvied, $150,000 apiece, a king's ransom in threadbare notes. Laughter echoed, but tension coiled like a spring. Brian Field, the solicitor's clerk who'd acquired the hideout, paced nervously. They hired 6 torchmen to raise the place, erase the fingerprints of greed. But greed has clumsy hands. The fire sputtered, half-hearted, leaving monopoly boards, overalls, and a trail of DNA breadcrumbs. As the gang scattered to the winds, some to Mexico's sun-baked shores, others to London's labyrinthine dives, the farm stood sentinel, whispering secrets to the dawn. One wrong move, one loose thread, and the noose would tighten. Who would crack first? If this pulse-pounding unraveling has you on the edge of your seat, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe to Behind the Veil Truths, for the hidden layers we peel back week after week. The Empire's fury unleashed. By August 13th, the farm's smoldering ruins screamed betrayal. Detective Chief Superintendent Jack Slipper, the bulldog of Scotland Yard with a nose for lies, descended like avenging thunder. Fingerprints danced across evidence logs. A single Monopoly hotel token mocked the mighty. Roger Corddry fell first, August 14th, his signal tricks unraveling under interrogation lights. Then Gordon Goody, the deputy's iron resolve cracking like eggshell. The manhunt ballooned. 3,000 officers, roadblocks snaking across the countryside, headlines howling, robbers at large. Ronnie Biggs, the slippery one, sweated in a Red Lion pub. Unaware Slipper's net was closing, but shadows lingered. John Daly walked free at trial, his innocence a razor-thin veil. And the Ulsterman, still a phantom, has tipped the poison pill. As arrests mounted, 11 in irons by year's end, the question burned. How deep did the rot go? Was there a mole in the yard itself? Justice's gavel, Mercy's shadow, Aylesbury Assizes, January 1964. The courtroom crackled like a storm front, 240 witnesses parading before Judge Edmund Davies, whose gavel promised thunder. Bruce Reynolds, the absent ghost, loomed in absentia, his flight to Mexico a taunt from afar. The 11 stood shackled, Wisby, Hussey, Welch, sentenced to 30 years each, conspiracy's cruel math. Roy James, the getaway ace, drew 25. Cordry, the signal whisperer, 20. Cheers from the gallery, but cracks, spiderweb the facade. Appeals slash terms, whispers of deals in the shadows. Charlie Wilson vanished from Winson Green in 64, a laundry basket, his chariot to freedom. Biggs, a rooftop leap from Wandsworth in 65, plastic surgery in Paris, forging a new face for the fugitive life. The trials weren't just law, they were theater, with the nation's pulse as the audience. But as sentences echoed, a deeper dread stirred. What if the real mastermind, the Ulsterman, still walked free, his fortune untouched? Ghosts in the machine. Decades blurred, but the ghosts refused to fade. Reynolds surrendered in 68, his Mexican idol soured by paranoia. Biggs danced samba in Brazil, untouchable till 2001, when frail bones dragged him home to a cage. Edwards peddled flowers at Waterloo, a floral irony for the flower of crime. Mills, his wounds festered, leukemia claiming him in 1970, a silent indictment. The loot, most recovered, but fragments vanished into Swiss vaults and Caribbean breezes. And the Ulsterman, in 2019, whispers named Patrick McKenna, a faded postal vet whose silence bought nothing but regret. Yet doubts linger, acquittals, botched burns, a train driver who never drove again. Was it all a setup, a yard sting gone rogue? As the Chiltern winds howl over Bridego Bridge, renamed Mentmore in quiet tribute, the rails hum with unrest. The heist didn't just steal money, it stole trust, leaving scars that time can't scrub. Epilogue, the unfinished track. But here's the hook that keeps me up at night, digging through yellowed files and forgotten tapes. What if the Great Train Robbery wasn't the end, but the spark? Rumors swirl of copycats in the shadows, modern wolves eyeing digital rails. One buried tip, one loose end, and the whole saga reignites. If the thrill of these veiled truths has your blood racing, hit subscribe and like. Behind the Veiled Truths. We're just scratching the surface of the world's darkest secrets. And now, as the signal flips green once more, I leave you here, dear reader, with the engine's distant roar. What's next on these cursed tracks? Tune in for the sequels, the unsolved heists, the traitors unmasked. The veil lifts, but the shadows, they never truly lift. What secrets will we uncover tomorrow?